I believe Hogwarts was designed first as a protective shelter during a war between witches and wizards on one side, then muggles and goblins on the other. As I have talked about in a previous video, which I will leave a link to in the description below. In this video, I wanted to go over the 5 features of Hogwarts that I think the founders had set in place, intending them to be part of the Hogwarts defense system. Starting from the outside in. Number 5, we have the Forbidden Forest. Now, I don't think the founders created the Forbidden Forest, but I do think that they strategically placed Hogwarts right in the middle of it to prevent people from getting to the school. Surrounding the school on all sides, any invaders attempting to get into Hogwarts would first have to travel through the Forbidden Forest. The Forbidden Forest has many dangerous creatures inside, such as centaurs, bowtruckles, thestrals, and even werewolves. These are just the creatures that we know of. Then, for the muggles that were actually able to make their way through, because of a protective spell, all they would see when they looked upon Hogwarts would be ruins, unless they had magical help to allow them to see the castle, which they would have if they had any mudbloods with them, or maybe, as I had mentioned in the previous video, specialized goblin equipment, like a helmet that would allow them to see the castle. Number 4, we have the suits of armor. In the 7th book, Professor McGonagall activates the Hogwarts suits of armor.
Pier totem locomotor! Hogwarts is threatened! Man the boundaries! Protect us! Do your duty to our school!
Once activated, she says to the suits of armor, "Man the boundaries, protect us, do your duty to our school." So do your duty to our school. To me, it sounds like these suits of armor have some preset instructions to protect the school. For a wizard to defeat an animated suit of armor, it should be possible with the Finite Incantatem spell, or any number of freezing or banishing spells. However, what on earth is a muggle supposed to do against an empty suit of armor? There's not a lot they can do. Number 3, the staircase and layout. So can you imagine yourself making your way past a bunch of monsters in the Forbidden Forest, then fighting your way through a bunch of suits of armor with no one in them, then invading a giant castle full of witches and wizards shooting spells down at you from many floors up. And when you finally get inside, find the stairs that lead to where the witches and wizards are casting from, and the stairs are doing this. Like, are you kidding me? Talk about a bad day. And there's still a bunch of suits of armor everywhere. Even if you start climbing the stairs, a bunch of them are trick stairs that people can get stuck on or fall through. Number 2 is the Basilisk. Now obviously only one of the founders knew about this, but if the castle were under siege, surely Slytherin would bring it out in defense of the castle. Let's say you make your way past everything else, past the Forbidden Forest. You're still, I guess, fighting the suits of armor since they're pretty much all throughout the castle, and you make your way up the stairs and begin running down a hallway only to see a giant monster that can kill you just by looking into your eyes. And its eyes are huge. Like, this thing has really big eyes. They're kind of hard to miss. There's really not a lot of other places to look now, is there? In such a small, confined space. The Basilisk itself seems to take up the entire hallway. Even if you manage to look away, it's just going to mow your entire group down. Running into a Basilisk is about the worst thing that you can run into, other than number 1, the house teachers. So in their time, the 4 founders were the most powerful witches and wizards around. After all, they are responsible for the safety and instruction of the next generation of witches and wizards. They were the masters of their various magical specialties. And I think this would have become something of a requirement, at least for the heads of house, to be incredibly skilled at magic. And as Professor McGonagall tells Harry in the 7th book,
"We teachers are rather good at magic, you know."
The Hogwarts teachers are rather good at magic. She tells him this just before she activates an entire castle's worth of suits of armor with a single spell. Now think about that for a second. With a single spell, she activates hundreds, if not thousands, of inanimate objects. We haven't seen anything like that before in Harry Potter. That is some hardcore, powerful magic. And the fact that Snape was able to hold his own against McGonagall as she was trying to kill him before Professor Flitwick showed up suggests he is incredibly powerful as well. Then the books talk about when Professor Flitwick was setting up the defenses against Voldemort.
Pointed his wand through the smashed window and started muttering incantations of great complexity. Harry heard a weird rushing noise, as though Flitwick had unleashed the power of the wind into the grounds.
Unleashes the power of wind. Like, think about all the instances of magic we have ever heard about in Harry Potter, and compare them with Flitwick unleashed the power of wind on the Hogwarts grounds. He may not look it, but this is one seriously powerful dude. Ask people from Florida and Texas what the power of wind is like, especially when it kicks up sand. And we all know how terrible, terrible sand is. These house heads are some of the most powerful witches and wizards that exist in the wizarding world, and have all been selected for their magical expertise. They are by far the last things you would want to encounter after fighting your way through the previous defenses. I believe the founders made Hogwarts this way on purpose, and the defenses seem to have been placed there for a reason. They are just so perfect for defense. What do you guys think? What other defenses does Hogwarts have? Let me know in the comments below. I could have gone on for a lot longer, but I didn't want to be boring and terrible like I apparently was in the Dumbledore video. I'm still pretty new at this. Anyway, if you enjoyed the video, I would appreciate it if you could give it a like, as it helps me out a great deal. Also, if you would like to be notified when I come out with new content, consider subscribing to the channel. And again, if you would like to support me in making these videos, I'll leave my Patreon link here.